We see a gorgeous blonde heroine Yu Da-hee sweetly thanking the male lead, blushing as she asks him over for late-night ramen. But the incredibly dense protagonist rejects her flat out. Reading this, high school sophomore Na Kang-lim completely loses his mind over this frustratingly beta move. The comments section is a massive flame war. Kang-lim violently screams that he would already be planning their future wedding and entire life together. Suddenly, his furious younger sister slams the door open, screaming at him to shut up. Kang-lim is left miserably groaning on his bedroom floor. He stares in the mirror, shadow-boxing the air and wondering if he could be a hero, only to accidentally smash his bare knuckles into the wall. The next morning in class, his Chunabu friend Yong-soo brags about gacha games, but gives a completely blank stare when Kang-lim mentions their favorite webtoon. Kang-lim frantically checks his phone, but his eyes widen in pure shock. Escape, the sixth wife, has completely vanished from the internet without a single trace. Suddenly, the teacher demands silence and announces a brand new transfer student. The door slides open, and the literal webtoon heroine, Yu Da-hee, walks right in. The entire classroom of boys goes absolutely wild over her idol-tier looks. But Kang-lim loses all composure, slamming his hands down and screaming her name. At lunch, Kang-lim is completely frozen in fear. But out of nowhere, the stunning Da-hee walks right up to his desk with a warm smile. Flustered, Kang-lim completely fumbles. He accidentally blurts out highly specific, secret webtoon lore about her childhood friend, making him look like an absolute, creepy stalker. The entire class glares at him with pure disgust. Before he can even explain, two arrogant popular guys swoop in and lead Da-hee away to the store. Later that evening, a terrifying scream echoes down the street. Kang-lim freezes in horror as he remembers the webtoon's brutal first plotline, the stalker arc. Pushing through the horrified crowd, he sees Da-hee lying lifeless on the pavement. Without the original overpowered male lead, the story turned completely tragic. Collapsing in absolute despair, Kang-lim's heart pounds violently. Ba-dum. He suddenly jolts awake at his school desk, finding the teacher announcing the new transfer student again. The timeline has literally reset. Staring in absolute shock as Da-hee walks back in alive, Kang-lim realizes he must become the main character to save her. The class finally ends, and Kang-lim stares blankly ahead. He realizes this is not a dream. Time travel is completely and absolutely real. He desperately grabs his notebook to outline the story's plot. But his Chunibu friend interrupts, assuming he is writing a cliché fantasy web novel. Kang-lim realizes a massive problem. The original male lead was a handsome taekwondo master, while he is just an incredibly weak, average normie. Asking his delusional friend for advice yields absolutely nothing helpful. Kang-lim decides he simply needs to prevent the heroine from reaching that dangerous rooftop. Walking the halls, he bumps into his gloomy friend, Park Jung-ah. Terrified of triggering a butterfly effect, he completely sprints away in pure panic. Lunchtime finally arrives. Splashing water on his face, he frantically tries to understand the loop trigger. Her death caused the first, but what caused this sudden second rewind? He concludes he must talk to her without making a terrible impression. He runs countless simulations in his head, absolutely determined to succeed today. Gathering all his courage, Kang-lim boldly marches right up to Da-hee. He asks if they have met before, leaving the classroom entirely shocked. She politely smiles and admits she struggles with remembering faces. Trying to keep her attention, Kang-lim nervously blurts out a highly specific private detail. He mentions Eun-young, her secret childhood friend from England. The entire class instantly glares at him, whispering that he acts like a creepy stalker. Right after dropping that massive secret, the sweet facade totally shatters. Da-hee furiously grabs Kang-lim's wrist and violently drags him away down the hall. Desperate for answers, he asks where they are going. When she demands a secluded spot, our delusional boy instantly imagines a classic romantic comedy confession. His imagination runs completely wild. He literally hallucinates giant golden wedding bells ringing and daydreams about getting happily married to his absolute favorite webtoon heroine. But his romantic delusion is violently shattered. Da-hee glares at him with pure murderous intent, coldly threatening to literally kill him if he repeats that. She promises to obliterate his social life. Kang Lim points his finger in absolute shock, screaming that the real Yu Da-hee would never be so vulgar. He desperately recites her webtoon lore. He passionately claims she is an innocent genius who loves classic literature, perfect grades, and elegant flower arrangements. Da-hee bursts into laughter, shattering his illusions. She completely reveals that her perfect, angelic persona was just a fake concept created by her agency. The real Da-hee is the total opposite. She prefers Hollywood action explosions over romance, world domination over peace, and screaming death metal over classical music. Kang Lim is utterly devastated. He remembers how she won every popularity poll for her kindness, and knowing it is all fake completely ruins his dream life. Unable to hold back his frustration, he speaks his mind. Da-hee instantly responds by violently punching him square in the face, sending him tumbling. After beating him up, she pulls out a thick notebook. It is her highly personal bucket list of 101 normal high school dreams. She demands to experience everything on her list. Since most are club activities, she forces the bruised Kang Lim to help her find a fun club. Kang Lim casually recommends his own club. He leads her to the All-Purpose Culture Club, claiming it broadens societal horizons and explores diverse cultural activities. But he completely lied. He opens the Kang Lim's alarm starts banging at 8:20 in the morning. Our boy violently jolts awake, realizing it's Thursday, which means the terrifying rooftop stalker incident has officially been avoided. He completely loses his mind with excitement, jumping out of bed and celebrating his massive victory. He points at his manga shelf, aggressively mocking all those basic, frustrating webtoon protagonists for being absolute cowards. Kang Lim proudly reflects on how his quick thinking resolved a massive crisis in a single day, skipping 3 whole webtoon chapters. He literally called the police station, reporting a fake gang fight to secure the rooftop. But his master plan came with a hilarious consequence. His furious mother completely misunderstood the situation, slapping him across the face because she thought her delinquent son was actually getting arrested by the cops. Walking to school with a bruise on his cheek, Kang Lim realizes the battle isn't entirely over. He still has to deal with the second stalker incident, but he has absolutely no clue what the guy looks like. He decides to play it incredibly safe and let the story progress naturally so his future knowledge stays intact. Suddenly, he spots Park Jung-ah trudging up the stairs with her signature exhausted eyes. Kang Lim immediately calls her out for ruining her perfect attendance record. She casually brushes it off, admitting she stayed up all night long furiously rewriting and drawing the script for her brand new webtoon. Jung-ah shyly reveals her brilliant new plot idea. She wants to give her main character a time loop resurrection ability. She literally wants her protagonist to repeat the exact same day every single time they die. This hits way too close to home. Kang Lim absolutely snaps, violently grabbing her shoulders and screaming that she has no idea how mentally exhausting and agonizing it is to repeat the same horrifying day over and over. Jung-ah is left utterly confused by his traumatized outburst. Out of nowhere, the popular class president, Kim Na-yoon, swoops in and playfully asks Jung-ah what on earth she's doing hanging out in the hallway. Na-yoon immediately starts teasing her, asking if Jung-ah finally gathered the courage to give Kang Lim her secret gift. Jung-ah blushes furiously, stammering that she completely missed her chance during club activities. Na-yoon warns her that someone else will absolutely snatch him up. But Jung-ah confidently dismisses the warning, insisting that Kang Lim is entirely obsessed with 2D anime girls and won't look at anyone else. Na-yoon utterly destroys Jung-ah's confidence in a single second. She pulls out her smartphone and shows a trending social media post, revealing Kang Lim actively hanging out with the stunning new transfer student, Da-hee. The scene cuts to the hallway, where Kang Lim is getting aggressively confronted by the arrogant guys from yesterday. They demand to know why a lowly loser like him keeps following the beautiful Da-hee. Kang Lim desperately defends himself, explaining that she is the one dragging him around. But the guys just scoff at him, absolutely refusing to believe that a top-tier girl would ever hang out with a total normie. Knowing the original webtoon lore, Kang Lim realizes these guys are irrelevant NPCs. He decides ignorance is bliss, turning his back on them and walking away without giving a single damn about their threats. Da-hee suddenly appears, completely dropping her sweet act. She demands to know what they were talking about, and Kang Lim reveals that the arrogant guy actually knows her fake identity's real name and middle school past. They head outside, where Dahi gets an urgent phone call from her agency. Her expression instantly darkens as she furiously yells at her manager over the phone for completely messing up her important modeling schedule. Left completely stranded with a modeling gig and no manager, Dahi turns her terrifying glare toward Kang Lim. She fiercely demands that since he has absolutely nothing to do, he must act as her personal manager today. The chapter ends on a massively chilling cliffhanger. A creepy, shadowy stalker watches them from afar, intensely glaring at Kang Lim and sinisterly vowing to murder him for corrupting his precious, angelic Dahi.
The driver introduces herself as Lee Hyun-ju, the management head of Da-hee's agency. Hyun-ju deeply thanks Kang Lim for stepping in as a temporary manager today. She explains they are incredibly short-staffed due to a massive scheduling error. Hyun-ju notices Da-hee dropped her fake persona. She playfully asks if the two teenagers are dating, causing both of them to furiously scream in denial. They arrive at their destination, GGD Magazine. Da-hee explains this emerging fashion company has massive influence online, so she desperately needs to leave a good impression. Inside the studio, things are an absolute disaster. The notorious director Choi is furiously screaming at his staff, throwing a massive tantrum over the minor magazine shoot. Da-hee quickly whispers to Kang Lim, warning him to make himself scarce. She knows the abusive director loves to brutally order newcomers around on set. But Kang Lim totally ignores her warning. He instantly leaps into action, grabbing outfits, fixing the lighting, and sprinting to the storage room like an absolute pro. Disaster strikes at lunch when director Choi's favorite restaurant is closed. He starts throwing another massive fit, screaming that the entire shoot will be ruined. Kang Lim smoothly steps up and orders from a brand new spot. The notoriously picky director takes one bite and absolutely falls in love with the delicious broth. The entire studio crew starts whispering in pure shock. They cannot believe this random high school kid actually managed to make the terrifying director smile on his first day. After a highly successful shoot, Da-hee hands Kang Lim a drink. She is completely amazed and asks how he magically knew exactly how to handle that difficult director. Kang Lim playfully smirks and reveals his secret. He admits he simply used all the entertainment industry tropes he learned from binge-reading webtoons in his bedroom. The mood suddenly gets serious. Kang Lim looks Da-hee in the eyes and tells her that constantly trying to be perfect for everyone else must be incredibly exhausting. He gives her some truly genuine advice. Instead of carrying the heavy burden all by herself, he warmly tells her she should start relying on people who actually want to help. As Kang Lim walks away to help move equipment, a terrifying realization hits him. Seeing all these original webtoon characters proves his real world and the comic have completely merged. Kang Lim walks into the pitch-black storage room, completely unaware of the danger. Suddenly, the heavy door violently slams shut behind him, locking him entirely inside. Out of the shadows, a terrifying figure violently attacks Kang Lim. He collapses in sheer agony, realizing with absolute horror that the insane stalker has already made his move. We finally glimpse the twisted stalker's past. He was utterly miserable studying abroad, getting bullied every day until the beautiful Da-hee warmly reached out to him. They instantly bonded over being from Korea, making Da-hee his absolute only safe haven. But as she grew famous as a model, she was suddenly surrounded by popular guys, leaving him completely in the dust. The obsessed stalker completely lost his mind watching her. He felt entirely betrayed, furiously wondering why she was laughing with other guys when he was supposed to be her one and only special fan. Back in the present, the stalker viciously attacks. He screams in pure rage that his angelic Da-hee would never use disgusting language, blaming Kang Lim for completely corrupting his innocent heroine. Kang Lim is caught completely off guard by the ambush. Before he can react, he feels a sharp, agonizing pain and collapses, realizing with absolute horror that he just got brutally stabbed in the stomach. The world goes entirely dark, but suddenly, Kang Lim violently gasps for air. He jolts awake next to a school vending machine, frantically touching his stomach and realizing the timeline miraculously reset. He officially survived the gruesome death loop. Da-hee is standing right beside him, completely confused as to why Kang Lim suddenly turned pale, asking if he's hurt because he looks absolutely terrified. Total panic mode officially engages. Kang Lim aggressively grabs Da-hee's wrist, urgently screaming that it is way too dangerous to stay here. He starts frantically dragging the bewildered heroine away. Da-hee violently rips her arm away, furiously demanding to know why he is acting so insane. Meanwhile, Kang Lim desperately dials manager Hyun-ju, begging to know her exact location for an emergency pickup. Hyun-ju casually says she is still 10 minutes away. Realizing they absolutely don't have that kind of time, Kang Lim immediately drags Da-hee onto a random public bus to make a desperate high-speed escape. Sitting safely on the bus, Kang Lim drops the massive truth bomb. He frantically explains that just moments ago, she was brutally stabbed by her obsessive internet stalker, triggering his entire time loop. Da-hee crosses her arms, looking at him like he belongs in an asylum. She absolutely refuses to believe his ridiculous sci-fi story about dying, looping through time, and miraculously resurrecting. But then Da-hee drops a terrifying confession. She admits she has actually been feeling creepy gazes recently, but refused to call the police because she knows from past experience they absolutely won't help. Kang Lim desperately asks if she got a good look at the stalker. Da-hee remembers a terrifyingly specific detail. The creep looked completely normal, but he was wearing their exact high school uniform. The stalker is officially a student at their school. Kang Lim realizes the villain must have transferred from Britain, begging Da-hee to maintain her perfect angelic persona tomorrow to safely investigate. Da-hee sassily snaps back that she already performs the nice girl act perfectly. She brutally roasts Kang Lim, claiming her flawless performance would have been absolute perfection without him ruining it. Kang Lim gets off at his neighborhood stop, returning home to his nagging family. He collapses onto his bed, feeling incredibly guilty because he answered Da-hee so half-heartedly when she was being sincere. His phone suddenly buzzes with a call from manager Hyun-ju. She sincerely thanks him for getting close to Da-hee, revealing that Da-hee's fake persona actually started as a massive middle school trauma response. Hearing her tragic backstory, Kang Lim feels intensely sad. He momentarily considers jumping out the window to literally kill himself and trigger another loop just to fix his terrible apology, but decides against it. The next morning at school, Kang Lim nervously approaches Da-hee to sincerely apologize, but to